What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Welcome, everybody. I am Love Coach Scott Catamas, and welcome to the Awakening World. And I want to welcome all the people that are in our Zoom room. I see a lot of our favorite friends and guests who are kind of regulars, but I also see a lot of new people who are joining us, so welcome. We have a really wonderful topic all weekend long, and an extraordinary number of really lovely speakers and presenters, and you're going to be meeting them all. I do want to invite those of you watching on Facebook or the YouTube channels, welcome. Thanks for watching. And you can still come on into our Zoom room. And it's going to be very interactive. We're going to have some really good opportunities to ask important questions about healing. How can we utilize these amazing presenters and their wisdom? So if you want to come on into our Zoom room, it's easy. Just go to globalpeacetribe.com and register. And you'll get links to all three of our shows. We do a show every Friday night, like this one, Saturday night, and Sunday morning. You'll get links to all three shows, and those links will be good through till April 1st. And you're also going to get some extra free links to special events that we're going to be doing. So come and join us. You know, I've been doing online shows since the pandemic began with my partner, Deborah Giusti. We did Saturday Night Live, and we started a wonderful collaboration with Teresa Collins, who created and runs the Global Coherence Pulse. And her Pulse shows are awesome, and she's got a great one tomorrow, which we'll hear all about. And to kind of move us forward, I want to bring on Teresa. Welcome, Teresa. And I am really excited about this weekend shows.
Thank you, Scott. And I'm excited that we're on a meeting line, because for a long time we've been doing webinar lines, and that's really effective when we want to put some attention on the presenter or the meditations. And it's so nice. I'm scrolling through. I wish some of you would turn on your cameras because I know your names. You're on the pulses. You've been showing up on the Coalition for Global Unity that Jennifer Hill did every Monday during the lockdown. Scott, it was so fun to watch you do what you just did, right? You turned on the recording, you got the live stream going, you turned on the screen, you got this beautiful video going. I mean, we've been doing this now consistently with our hearts and showing up and providing good content. So thank you. I'm excited that on a quarterly basis, the Global Coherence Pulse shows up and partners with the Global Peace Tribe, and we take the theme from the Pulse, which normally is the morning, tomorrow morning, and then we do the Saturday Night Live in the evening. So this is the first time that we've been able to gather together before the Pulse and begin to build the connection to this theme and to this energy, and then we have a weekend instead of just one day. So I'm super excited that we can actually take this theme of healing from the inside out, right? Like we are going through such a huge transformational change. And so we can spend an entire weekend and explore this theme from different perspectives, and the whole time not just talking about it, but dropping in and being present so that we can experience what that means together as we explore it. So I could not think of a better person to bring in to do this weekend than Jennifer Hill, who I said was like Scott and Deborah and me. We all showed up and we did, we did these things every week with our heart open. And Jennifer brought us connection to so many amazing people and helped us to stay centered. And now she has launched, and this weekend is the global launch of Om Heals, which is an amazing resource for us to be able to connect in with energetic medicine and healers. And also she's connecting us this whole weekend with a variety of different kinds of things to heal. So Jennifer, I am so excited to partner with you. She's also on the Pulse team now, and we love having her. And Jennifer, I'm going to turn this over to you to share about our guests. And then we're going to drop in with an attunement, because we don't start anything without getting present so that whatever we explore is real and makes a difference in the heart of our lives. So I invite you for the next hour and a half to be present and to be nourished and to go on a ride that Jennifer has so lovingly planned for us with the guests. So Jennifer, I love you. Thank you. And congratulations. And keep sharing your heart the way you do.
I love you, Teresa. I am so just deeply grateful to you and to Scott and to our incredible panelists who we're going to introduce to you here in a moment, and Khadijih, who's going to be facilitating our meditations. I'm so thankful to each of you who's here and going to be in the spirit of inquiry with us. Welcome as we do a 360-degree look at what does it mean to heal from the inside out. I don't know about any of you. Anybody felt stressed maybe in the last few weeks? I know I certainly have. And our intention for you this weekend is to give you tools so that no matter what happens in your life, you have the resources necessary to combat any challenges or obstacles that may come up. I like to think of this as being akin to Batman. Any superhero fans out there? So Batman, as you may know, is not superhuman, but he is a superhero. So what makes Batman so super is that he has all of these miraculous tools in his tool belt, so that God forbid he finds himself free falling off the edge of a building, boom, he can just use one of those tools to re-ground himself and to gain that solid footing. That is our wish for you, is that out of all of these beautiful complementary and alternative medicines, some personal development that we're going to be talking about this weekend, including a discussion tonight on plant medicine, ketamine, with our esteemed experts who I'll introduce you to in a moment, our intention is that you, like Batman, have your own super bat belt of healing tools. We are all already whole, complete, and perfect. I remember many years ago, actually at the beginning of the pandemic in March of 2020, which is how Teresa and I had connected. I was reading Greg Braden's book. I was sitting on my couch in Paris and reading his book and enjoying the Eiffel Tower. And Greg Braden said in his book, Divine Matrix, the square root of 1% of the population meditating at the same time can transform the consciousness of humanity. And that is what sparked me to say, oh, Teresa, we reached out to HeartMath and Teresa and Deepak, and we got all of these incredible world leaders. Well, around that time, Deepak said to me, Jen, why don't we invite the Dalai Lama? He's a friend of mine. So one of my favorite practices, and we're going to be tying through many practices today, of which meditation is one of my favorites. And so I went into a meditative state that night, and I wanted to connect to the Dalai Lama's consciousness. It's really fun. If you've never tried it, message me. I can share with you how you go about doing this. And I said, while in a meditative state, Your High Holiness, I am a friend of Deepak's, and he's going to be inviting you to join us for this global meditation on March 9th. Would you like to join us? And again, in my mind's eye, I heard, thank you so much, Jennifer. I appreciate the invitation, though it's going to be 12:30 a.m. my time in India, so I won't be able to join you, though I will be there in spirit. What he said next stuck with me and will always stay with me for the rest of my life. He said, Jennifer, I want to offer one thing. Before you go and endeavor to create this global meditation, I ask you to consider, why are you doing it? If you are coming from this meditation of seeing the world as needing to be fixed or being broken, you're not going to make the difference you want to make with this meditation. He said, but I invite you, if instead you can see yourself as whole, complete, and perfect, and see the world as whole, complete, and perfect, it is from that place that you will be able to make the difference you want to make with this global meditation. And as we go into this weekend, know that you are already whole, complete, and perfect. All of these alternative medicines we're going to be exploring this weekend are merely meant to reflect back to you the wholeness that already exists within you, that quite frankly, sometimes we forget that we are whole. So today, who do we have for you this weekend? We have incredible panelists this evening. We have Neil Markey, who is an ex-veteran Army Ranger, who has been a C-suite executive, has been meditating for over 10 years and facilitating and hosting plant medicine retreats around the world, as well as Clay Kahler, an incredible angel investor and patriot in the wellness space and founder of Gateway Clinics, along with Dr. Beth DuPree, who is the Chief Medical Officer of Gateway Clinics. And I can't wait to talk to her today about her soul surgery that she recently told me is a new concept that she's been facilitating. And throughout this whole weekend, I invite you to explore what fits for you. Try on these different concepts and see, like a jacket, imagine putting it on and seeing if it fits or resonates for you. And if not, just throw it back in the closet. In addition to energy medicine this evening, we're going to be going into Dr. Deepak Chopra tomorrow, Dr. Bradley Nelson, famous author of the book The Motion Code. We also have Paulette Pipe, who will be facilitating a meditation, as well as Dr. Ivy Hilton, who I believe is with us here today, is going to be facilitating some beautiful music for us. Khadijih, who is here with us today, is going to facilitate our first attunement here in a moment, and is going to be creating a beautiful container and space for us throughout the weekend by incorporating grounding meditations so that we can embody all of these beautiful tools and concepts. We also have Daniel Ballone, who's going to be a musical guest with us, and Amelie as well tomorrow. And on Sunday, we're going to be speaking with personal development expert and author Mary Jo Lerai, as well as energy healers from our Om Heals platform, Marcus Brown and Nicole Forrest. So know that this entire weekend has been designed for you, to support you with your health, your wholeness, and the love and vitality that exists within you. So thank you for trusting us. Thank you for being on this journey. And thank you to Teresa and Scott for creating such an incredible opportunity to do this. I forgot to mention, we also have a special guest who's going to make a cameo tomorrow night in the early show, Shakti Durga, who has trained thousands of energy medicine professionals from around the world, and ironically happens to be friends with one of our guests tonight, Dr. Beth DuPree. So if you want to hear more from Shakti Durga, aside from just her little early show cameo tomorrow, you can also join us for the Global Coherence Pulse, where she will be featured tomorrow at 12 p.m. Pacific time. So without further ado, Khadijih, I would love to turn it over to you, my friend, for our first attunement of this weekend.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jennifer. My camera's a little blurry. Okay. I just wanted to start by saying how much of an honor it is to be here with all of you this evening. I know that this whole weekend is going to be wonderful and filled with so much wisdom and guidance that will aid us all in all of our own personal paths. But for now, to begin this evening, I'd like to invite us to just take a step inside and gently closing your eyes and bringing your awareness to your inner body. Letting your focus settle on the space inside. And drawing your attention down to your feet and feeling your feet on the ground that they rest upon. Feeling this rooted sensation between your feet and our beautiful Mother Earth below. As you feel your feet on the earth, just gently begin deepening your breath, letting this breath draw your awareness even more firmly into this moment right here, and into that divine connection between you and the earth below. As you continue to breathe deeply, take a moment to visualize tree roots extending out of your feet and moving deep beneath the earth, connecting you even more firmly to our beautiful Mother. Breathing deep, this grounding sensation between you and the earth below, between you and this present moment, and between you and the entire collective of beautiful souls that are joined together here tonight. Notice how your body relaxes and comes even more firmly into this now moment. Make the choice right here, right now, to remain present. And gently drawing your awareness up into your heart space, and breathing deeply into your heart, feeling present with your heart, feeling present in this moment, feeling attuned to this moment. Feeling connected to this moment. And still holding this presence in your heart, in your body, in your field, gently bring your awareness back to the physical space in which you're in. Slowly opening your eyes and returning to this room, feeling calm, feeling present. Thank you.
So beautiful, Khadijih. Khadijih is going to be here with us all weekend and will share with you an amazing opportunity that she has to join her for a meditation experience in case you choose to deepen your meditative practice. So, Neil Markey, I would love to invite you, my friend, to share a little bit about your journey in exploring plant medicine as well as meditation that's led you to where you are today before we get into our panel discussion.
Sure. Thanks for having me. We have just a few minutes, right, for this? Yes.
Please give the intro.
Yeah, I grew up in Maryland. I was studying math at the University of Maryland, and September 11th happened, and a group of guys figured out that if we climbed to the top of the football stadium, you could see the smoke from the Pentagon. And it was a big day in my life. The military had never really been on my radar before, but I started following the news and, was quite concerned about what was going on in the world. And my girlfriend's father at the time was a very senior level officer at the Pentagon. And as soon as I showed some interest, he said, come with me. And he kind of took me under his wing. And I didn't have a lot of respect for the military growing up. I didn't understand it. And, he was very bright. He had a PhD. He was quite articulate. And a lot of the people that I met through him, I was very impressed with. And I was pretty sold. I thought that the country was at risk and we needed to do something. And I thought I was being a patriot. So I left school for a while. I enlisted and then actually ended up coming back and doing the ROTC program and commissioning as an officer. I did one trip to Iraq as an infantry lieutenant. So was responsible for, 30 to 40 US soldiers and a platoon of Iraqis. I went on to be selected to go try out for the Army Special Operations Ranger Regiment and got selected by 275 2nd Ranger Battalion. And, it was Pat Tillman's battalion. He had been killed by the time I got there, but his legend was everywhere. This was the professional football player who gave up his multi-million-dollar a year contract to come serve. It was these type of guys. They were larger than life to me. When I was there, Leroy Petrie got the Medal of Honor. His locker was right next to mine. We all sat in the dining facility and watched him get the award from President Obama. The president would talk about the night raids that the Rangers were doing regularly when we were overseas. And so part of me was super proud. But it was exceptional. It was so traumatic. And I was quite lucky. I was more of an officer. So I was more in the planning, and it was really the guys that were kind of out there, on the front lines that had an even tougher go. And it was tough on me, even in my role. At one point we had 3 suicides in 90 days in a unit that's only a few hundred people. So it was really bad. And when I was on my second deployment, there was guys there that had been on 10 or more, right? They had been deploying constantly since the September 11th. They were in Afghanistan in October of 2001. And so it was rough. It was tough. And I got out and I went to Columbia University for graduate school. And I think once I lost the mission and didn't have that purpose, all the trauma kind of started to surface. And I was really, really struggling at this point. I was going through a divorce. I was drinking a lot. I had a lot of anxiety, a lot of anger, but was kind of outwardly doing well. I was, had been a highly ranked special operations officer. I was at Ivy League grad school and I was starting to get, job offers at these really fancy, prestigious companies, but I was not well. And I had tried a lot of different things in Western medicine and, nothing really helped. And what I found, which was like the opening for me, was meditation. And I loved Mindfulness-Based Stress Reduction by Jon Kabat-Zinn because it was very pragmatic. It was intentionally without the religious ties, which at the time was very appealing to me. It was kind of just clinical and pragmatic, just watch your breath, present moment awareness. And I had the soldier's discipline. So I was able to kind of start to see the power in the present moment awareness. And then, this was about 10 years ago, 2012, I started kind of using plant medicine ceremoniously as opposed to recreationally. And there's quite a difference in the intention and the setting and the people that you're with. And that helped a lot. So I had this period after grad school where I was doing quite well. I was an entrepreneur with my brother. I was living in my hometown. I had like good connections, was in nature, I was meditating, very disciplined. I ended up getting a teacher's certification from Jefferson University. I was teaching meditation. Life was kind of smooth, like flowing, for the folks that understand the flow kind of state you can get to. And I had been deferring this job offer with McKinsey and Company, which is like a very, prestigious place to work. Everybody that I went to grad school with kind of wanted to work there. And I had been asking them to postpone it to work on this project with my brother. And I asked for another postponement, and they said, look, we love you, Neil, but we're not going to be your permanent backup plan while you go out there and try and build other businesses. So I said, that's fair. And I'd always wanted to go. So I went. And, McKinsey is an incredible place. There's like the best and the brightest. I mean, they hire from the top schools, top students. They're international. So I was going all over the world, kind of flying first class and eating fancy dinners and sitting in executive rooms with board members. And, pretty cool for a kid from lower middle class Frederick, Maryland. And I got caught up in it. And, my meditation practice started to slip a bit. My well-being practices started to slip a bit. And, I was teaching meditation. I was actually one of the first people at McKinsey to teach meditation, to our clients, but it wasn't necessarily the most authentic, right? Because I was kind of, not as disciplined as I would have liked to have been. And then I went to probably an even more intense role, which was doing private equity, restructurings, basically, where I was like a drop-in senior level executive for these, mid-size $500 million companies. And it was intense and it was adventurous, kind of like the Ranger Regiment, but in the business context. So part of me, again, there's probably some addiction to that, the intensity. But the work environment was very toxic. I mean, it was just super toxic. It was, when companies are going through those tough times, it can bring out the worst in people. And again, it just wore on me. And I had swapped out material possessions for the things that I really needed to make me whole. And when you do that, you can end up pretty empty. So I had, again, outwardly looking in, very successful business career, but completely miserable. And I got to a point where I said, what am I doing? What am I doing? I am so unhappy. I'm so stressed out. I'm like addicted to buying things because I'm addicted to drinking. I'm trying to fill this void. And I left. And this was a few years ago. And that whole time, I had, continued kind of seeking a bit, and there's a long history of special operations like Rangers and SEALs and Marine Recon guys getting down into Central America, Mexico to do plant medicine. There's a few nonprofits that are amazing, like Veterans Exploring Treatment Solutions, or Heroic Hearts, that have been doing this work for a long time and healing guys. And so I had been, kind of connecting people with them throughout the years. And then I got out of the corporate world and I knew what I needed. I had had a period where I felt well, and I needed to get back into my meditation practice. I needed to get into nature. I needed to get around people that weren't just worrying about money and prestige and were living differently. I needed to take care of my body, all these well-being things. And I went to Mexico with a friend, and I started doing that, and then things started to flow again. And, that was a few years ago, and it kind of just started organically. I started connecting with the Huichol here, which is the local indigenous tribe. They've been using plant medicine for millennia. They think it's hilarious that the Western world is waking up to it, and, they're not going to hold it against us, but they're like, welcome back. We've known all along, we'll welcome you back to the tradition and the ceremony. And then we started doing single day programs, multi-day programs. And then I had this moment where I was like, well, this is my life's work. When I was in the business world, it was very clear to me that the anxiety and the fight or flight symptoms that I had experienced in the Ranger Regiment with guys going to combat, I was seeing in the corporate world. Right now, it's a spectrum. It might not have been as acute as in the Ranger Regiment, but it was real. The organizations can have this franticness to them, and it's not healthy. And having been kind of in both worlds, I was like, I can straddle that. I can have a foot in each, and I can connect these type A overachiever corporates that need healing with the healing spiritual arts and the healers. And so we kind of started an organization to do that and design programming. And I think it's my life's work.
I love that, Neil. That is so beautiful. And I think it's so important that you shared your story, both as a veteran and as somebody in the business world, because we all do go through these struggles. And we have many questions already starting to come in. So I want to pause for a moment, and we're going to introduce Clay and Beth and have them share a little bit, and then we'll dive right into our Q&A. So I know we have 1 or 2 questions already, and I invite you, if you have additional questions, please feel free to put them in the chat or on any of the Facebook pages that you're streaming or watching from. And thank you so much, Neil, for sharing that with us. And without further ado, Clay, I'd love to turn it over to you. Clay Kahler is an entrepreneur, incredible angel investor in the wellness space. And I had the privilege and honor of walking by one of his clinics in Santa Monica, and my interest was piqued, and through a series of miraculous synchronicities, we just hit it off and became very dear friends. And I strongly recommend the work he's doing with Gateway Clinics. So Clay, if you don't mind, if you could share a little bit about how you came to be on this journey.
Right. Thank you. And Jennifer, thank you for spending the time in Santa Monica and stumbling upon Gateway. That was very serendipitous, and I've enjoyed our time together. So thank you. So the path to Gateway for me, I got introduced to the efficacy surrounding plant-based medicine, really going back to cannabis. I was living on the East Coast, so roughly 20 years ago. I had a colleague that was struggling with multiple sclerosis. And at the time, if you think 20 years ago, cannabis was certainly very fringe. This colleague of mine had his doctors at Johns Hopkins and Harvard Medical tell him that he needed to find medicinal cannabis to help with the spasticity and the pain in his lower legs and ailments that were really debilitating him. And much like Neil, he was a veteran. So he had come from a very regimented, didn't drink, drugs were out of the question. To make a story succinct, it saved his life. I witnessed him going from pain and grimacing on his face to finding medicinal cannabis, being highly functioning while using it. The opiates were completely dismissed from his life, and it opened up my eyes to the benefits to something that was seen as taboo. So it was really the first catalyst for me to see that these plants that had been demonized to a degree had true medicinal properties. So if we fast forward, I left the East Coast. I was living between New York and my home in Virginia, where I grew up. And I ended up in California. So I came out here, and they had this amazing legal caregiver, interesting program surrounding cannabis. So I came from a venture background. I'll spare you everybody the details, but I was a tech entrepreneur, worked in the .com days, and have done a variety of things as a result of some successes with technology and have had a wide variety of interests. And I've always come back into this life sciences and plant-based medicine. So coming to California, where it's such a hub for possibility, and again, cannabis was a catalyst for that. So I worked in that space. As the legalization started to open up, I shepherded some companies within the United States into Canada and helped with some capitalization of those companies. I was simultaneously working in the life sciences sector with medical devices, neurological devices that were aimed at healing PTSD, Alzheimer's, stroke, and multiple sclerosis. Still shareholders of these companies. We've nurtured them from small enterprises and been fortunate enough to take them into the capital markets and list them on NASDAQ. And so I've been involved in a variety of things. The plant medicines and the cannabis work took me into taking a majority interest in a company in Phoenix, Arizona named Spray Labs, which is a vitamin supplement, nutraceutical, medicinal mushroom and cannabinoid, non-psychoactive cannabinoid business. And I have seen remarkable results with the products that we create. We use a spray delivery system and nanotechnology to have these microscopic particles that are easily absorbed through the mouth. And I just feel very fortunate to be involved in that business and bringing these products to us. Through this period of time, I spent a great deal of time in Latin America. I had kept an apartment in Argentina and was in and out of Brazil a great deal. I was exposed to some of these plant-based medicines. And I, yet again, like with cannabis, saw some amazing results. I witnessed it with other people. My journeys that I've had have been profound. I came to look at how this next revolution and evolution of plant-based medicine, and again, like Neil said, the indigenous people are only saying to us, welcome back. This is something that has been, taken away from culture, from us, from the Western world. So now that we have the opportunity to embrace this again, I feel very privileged to be able to bring Gateway as a conduit to bring these to the market. So Gateway is a 2-year-old company. GatewaySciences.com is our holdco. We have a clinical presence that we're growing domestically and abroad. I live primarily in Los Angeles. We also have a presence in Germany, and we hope to be opening Gateway clinics there in Q3, Q4 this year. The efficacy that I saw for ketamine treatments was the catalyst for me to open up the Gateway clinics. I had already been involved, and Gateway was established as a company leaning in toward psilocybin research and awaiting what MAPS was doing with MDMA treatments, and knowing that this was going to be the next frontier, and having a firm belief in the efficacy surrounding these, and being an entrepreneur that likes to do things that are, I say that, the ripest fruit is out on the skinny branches. So these endeavors are certainly out on the skinny branches. And I had a treatment with ketamine. I could not get behind this without experiencing it myself. So I went into a treatment with a 4-infusion protocol. And after the third, I was convinced that it had an absolute place in this mental health next platform that we're doing with this psychedelic assisted therapy. So I opened Gateway clinics in June of 2021, and we have worked through our protocols. We are putting the right pieces in place. We've got a great growth strategy with this, and the whole idea that what we want to do here is have a trusted platform of clinics and procedures that will be prepared to administer MDMA if we're fortunate enough in 2022, and there are some belief that we may have MDA rescheduled, and we would be a provider to be able to render services with these other molecules beyond ketamine. Ketamine will always have a place, and certainly MDMA and psilocybin and ibogaine for addiction when and if that comes. I'll button it up with just a couple of things real quick. I look at communities that are really ideal in needing this. I feel that we could all benefit from these medicines. I'd like to say that. I know that's an audacious in broad stroke, but I really believe that there is a place here for everyone. And I'm happy to expound on that as we move through this dialogue. But I believe that the geriatric and transitioning community is such an unbelievably wonderful place. It would be a gift for me to be able to take what we're doing within Gateway and administer these treatments to people in the later stages of life and in hospice and transitioning. And I've had the loss of family members and friends, as I'm sure many of us have, and I see some of the regrets. I see some of the elements that, transitioning is not always beautiful, and it's always hard. It's heart-wrenching, and I think that we could transform this element of humanity by not only allowing that being in their later stages of life to reckon with any of the issues that they've had, but to embrace all the good that they've done and to exponentially affect the people that are around them. And I know this from firsthand experience. I know that a father passing will certainly, if he passes in an amazing way, will impact all of his children, all of his siblings, and even his caregivers. So, I feel that that's a big, important piece for us. Veterans are another one. So Neil, again, thank you for your service. And we have veterans on our team, and we are working with the VA to put programs in place to bring these medicines to them. And as I pass this baton over to my wonderful colleague, Dr. Beth DuPree, she'll expand upon some of the pre-surgery, post-surgery treatments that we intend on bringing in. And we're structuring studies now, and we are structuring studies for breast cancer patients as well. And I think that buttons it up, gives you an idea of what brought me here. And I can tell you this, out of all the many things that I've been involved in, I feel so privileged to be able to bring this opportunity to the world, and I'm committed to it. I fund this. I have myself, and I do it with love and without any trepidation, because every time that I see a patient come through and the change that this makes for them, what could be better in life? So, yeah, thank you all for letting me be here and share that story.
So beautiful, Clay. And I want to give a brief testimonial. As I mentioned, I happened upon Clay's Gateway Clinics in Santa Monica in Montana. And the furthest thing from my mind was to do a ketamine IV. And I believe in the synchronicities of the universe. And because of the way it came to me, I said, maybe I am meant to do this. And when I did, as somebody who has struggled with anxiety and depression and insomnia from time to time, I was open to it. Anything that would help alleviate that, I wanted to give it a try. And one of my best friends in Santa Monica actually joined me at the same time for our first IVs together. I personally cannot say enough about it. It was fascinating because you go into this experience and they have the best nurses on standby. They have doctors, you're there, and you're just in an altered blissful state of deep wisdom. So I'm happy to answer questions offline. If anybody has them, you can feel free to message me. And I just want you to know it was incredible. And I actually used my heart rate monitor, which we do a lot of work with HeartMath. And I connected Clay with Roland over at HeartMath because my heart rate variability was 10 times better for an extended period of time after the IV. And I was able to sleep better using, graciously, some of the sprays as well that Clay introduced me to. So just a brief testimonial that I personally done it. That's why I wanted to have Clay and Beth on the show with us today. So thank you so much, Clay. I want to hand it over to Beth. And then in about 5 or 6 minutes, we're going to go to Q&A. I know that we have about 10 questions at least in the chat. So we're going to get to as many questions as we can today. And otherwise, we will be providing you with everybody's links at the end of the show before we go into our final meditation. So thank you, Clay. And Dr. Beth DuPree, I turn it over to you.
Thank you, everybody, for having me here this evening. I'm happy to follow my two fabulous colleagues and their stories. I am a board certified breast cancer surgeon, and I have spent the last 35 years of my practice taking care of women and men with breast cancer. And I truly know in my heart that I'm a healer who chose to be a surgeon in this lifetime, because bringing my worlds together, starting out as a respected surgeon, was certainly an easier path. I am the neophyte to psychedelic or plant medicine in this group. The plant medicines that I am most used to using are aspirin from the bark of a willow tree and Taxol that comes from the Pacific yew tree in my breast cancer patients. But my world expanded very rapidly in 2019. Briefly, I practiced on the East Coast, taught breast surgical oncology fellows for years. In 2012, got board certified in integrative medicine because I recognized very early on in my career that my patients needed something so much more than we were giving in Western medicine. They were left with many holes in their care, where their physical body may have been healed, but their spirit and their soul were left very empty. And for years, I have worked, started a foundation back in 2007, the Healing Consciousness Foundation, to bring healing services to patients free of charge. And we did a great job with Reiki and massage and guided imagery and yoga and meditation and healing retreats. But it wasn't until 2018 that we incorporated breath work into our retreat. And it was the most powerful experience for these women, to the point that on a scale of 1 to 5, they ranked it at 1,000 because it was so transformative. And now for me, breath work as well is a wonderful modality that I absolutely love and embrace. But how do you go from being the left-brained Western medicine trained surgeon in Philadelphia to a physician who I will complete my psychedelic training with the California Institute of Integral Studies and the Multidisciplinary Association of Psychedelic Studies next month? Actually, next week is my final connection with my mentor. So I'm very proud of the work that I've done in this last year to get to this place. But a lot of people say, how did you get there? And the answer is, we have done a lot to treat disease in this country, but we've not done enough to help promote healing, and promote healing from the inside out, where wellness and healing are something that are not taught to us in medical school. We are given a book of diseases and the pill for the ill, and you make a diagnosis, you treat the symptom, but we've never really gone back to the root cause. And for me, it just wasn't enough. And so I have to say the perfect storm happened. I literally was called to move to Sedona in 2017. I was with my sister Sue in Australia when this process happened, and I literally left her house on vacation, came to Sedona on vacation, and bought a house at the end of that vacation, completely unplanned. Started a practice out here. It was very successful. We got accredited by the National Accreditation of Breast Programs, a booming practice, and then the perfect storm happened. A colleague was injured severely in a car accident. The volume of patients I was treating grew exponentially, and I got to a place where I came here to combine my healing with my surgery, and I ended up becoming a technician. And I am not a surgical technician. I am a surgeon who cannot work without having that healing relationship with my patients. And that was taken away from me. And in that perfect storm, doing a lecture on lifestyle modification, I was pulling up slides on the internet and pulled down Michael Pollan's slides from Food Rules. And the next thing was How to Change Your Mind. I got it with my Audible credit, and going to the operating room for the next week, I listened to How to Change Your Mind. And I was born in 1960 on the East Coast. I thought LSD was evil. I did not even know how to spell psilocybin. I knew nothing about ayahuasca. So I was a total psychedelic virgin. I had absolutely no prior anything. Michael's book got me to pull the papers that Bill Richards had written from Johns Hopkins, and his work on late stage cancer patients and the unbelievable impact it had on their lives. I'm thinking, why are we waiting till someone is ready to transition to begin this process? If someone gets cancer, why don't we do this at the initial time that they have cancer, so that they can get out of fight or flight, get out of the cortisol storm, and actually get to a place of deep inner healing. And that led me to applying to CIIS. I started my course, and I've read everything. I have way more knowledge about plant medicine than I have experience. So I have all the scientific side of it. And, just recently, because I needed to do an experience with MAPS, I went to Costa Rica and experienced ayahuasca, and Mother Ayahuasca taught me how to surrender. I think she gave me what I needed. And I left Costa Rica with the knowledge that I was being called to be the healer that I know that I am. And what I was being called to do was to help to make a bridge between where I've been in Western medicine and where I'm going with the healing aspects of plant medicine, because this is something that cannot remain outside the walls of Western medicine. This needs to be inside the institutions. This needs to be brought to women and men with breast cancer. It needs to be brought to many individuals who need to enhance their mental wellness. I've been involved with mental wellness and other aspects for many, many years, which is how I met Clay through a wonderful introduction from one of his former colleagues from a company he worked with. And I knew within the first half an hour of the Zoom with Clay that we were going to be working together, because how often does a board certified breast cancer surgeon show up on a call when you're opening up a ketamine clinic and wanting to bring this information to the world? So that is how I got there. I am an absolute neophyte in this process. I am also going to start a program out of Amsterdam called Synthesis, because like I share with Clay, I've learned a lot. I still feel like I have so much more to learn. And I'm very, very excited, because every step along the way, this journey just gets richer and richer and richer. And I again, Neil, thank you for your service. I love what you're doing. And I guess it's time for questions.
Thank you so much, Beth. The chat is blowing up right now with so many questions, and thanking you for the work that you're doing. We are going to do our darndest to get to all of these questions, or as many as possible today. I wanted to share a little anecdote. The reason that I wanted to do tonight and have it be focused on plant medicine in particular is because it did help my journey. I know one of the questions we're going to get into next was which of the healing modalities has made the biggest difference for you. And for me, as somebody who struggled with depression and suicidal tendencies when I was younger and really had a rough run of it, I was introduced to psilocybin in my first journey experience last year. And I literally went from somebody who often would vacillate between feelings of despair and hopelessness. I went through a challenging time, a divorce a few years ago, and many different obstacles, some might call it. And upon my journey with psilocybin, I was able to reach a new frequency of joy. And if any of you are familiar with David Hawkins' states of consciousness, you might be aware that the level 550 to 600, it's different frequencies that are measured in states of consciousness, joy being between 550 and 600. And for me personally, I've been able to not only reach that state of joy, but to create a new emotional set point of joy for everything I do in my life. And that's what I want for everyone. I know many of you are asking, where can you find these retreats? What can you do? Gateway Clinics, of course, does have the ketamine available, and we'll have Neil share as well where you can find some of these other incredible ayahuasca and psilocybin retreats. So without further ado, I would love to get to one of the first questions from Dorina Joy, where she asked, what type of healing or modality has been most beneficial for you throughout your journey? So perhaps, Neil, we could go back to you for this, and if we can keep it somewhat succinct, just so we can get to as many questions as possible, that would be incredible. I know we have so many questions in the chat for all of you.
Jennifer, before you do that, I really would love to just do a quick reflection, if you don't mind. This is the first time I've met these three people that you've brought on today. And I want to share something about my experience, because I think that's what we're talking about here, was that I went from Neil talking about the kind of trauma that we're in right now and what it's like in some of the organizations that are like really like moving masterful people through them, and that we're not using those tools. And so somebody who's in that, who said, I want to know how to draw in the energy of these tools so that I can actually be in my mastery in the midst of this. And I heard that from Clay, and I like, Dr. Beth, you claimed it in front of us. I just don't want to move on before we actually just acknowledge that all three of you said there is a role for plant medicine in this transition and healing of our traumas and our ability to move in relationship to what our part is now, so that we can, so that we're not, so we can heal from the inside out. And you all shared something that both stirred me in like, there is so much going on. Like, how do we ride it? And that you all actually then embodied this commitment to the inquiry of what is the role of plant medicine in healing from the inside out. And we'll hear about what is energetic medicine's role. But tonight was that, and you all shared so claiming that I just didn't want the moment to pass without acknowledging that. Like, thank you. Thank you. That's the question. That's the question. So.
Thank you, Teresa, and thank you for holding us accountable for that. Sometimes I get fixated on time and wanting to honor everyone's time. And so before we get into the Q&A, I would love to know, Neil and Clay and Beth, if we do go a little bit over on time, is that something you guys, show of hands, is that okay if we have a few extra questions? Is that okay with you guys?
Sure.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I mean, we just have such a plethora. As you can see, this topic is really moving and inspiring and resonating with people at a deep level. And so thank you, Teresa. I acknowledge you, my friend. And that's why I love you so much, is because you are that person who holds the space with such integrity. So thank you for that. Beautiful. And so, Neil, we could go to you now, if you don't mind sharing about what has been most instrumental for you in your healing journey. Which modality would you recommend?
Well, for plant medicines, I mean, they're all special, right? And they all have their own place. And I don't think we know yet fully kind of which ones are best for which person with kind of which, personal context and symptoms. So they all have a role. I really like psilocybin because it's natural, it grows from the earth. There's a long indigenous tradition. It looks like it may actually cause neuroregenesis, so it's actually healthy for the brain. But you need, if you're going to experiment with these plants, you need to like check with your doctor, right? And make sure that everything's okay, kind of for your well-being. And I think these plants are used best when they're used in conjunction with other well-being practices. You need to have like a fertile bed of well-being to get the most out of these plants and to limit the risk. So what I mean by that is you need to be taking care of yourself. You need to be doing the meditations. It's that critical meditation, I think, is in a league of its own. And then after that, there's breathwork exercises, there's mindful movement like yoga, there's time in nature, there's connection with other human beings, there's proper diet. And you need to be doing, you need to be working on these for some time, I would say, so that your central nervous system is not in this super heightened fight or flight state. Now, some people, do it. Like Ibogaine, for instance, you look for there's a company called The Mission Within that I'm very familiar with and know the owner, that does Ibogaine treatment specifically for addiction recovery. So I guess that would be my recommendations. Like, do your research, check with your existing kind of health professionals, try and get started on the well-being practices. And ask questions, before you do. Can we mute the?
Yeah, give me 1 second. I'm trying to figure out who that is, and we'll mute them.
I found him and I muted. And just to remind
thanks.
everybody to please keep yourselves muted. Very, very important.
And I mean, the plants, they can be super yet powerful when used in the right way, with the right intention, the right setting. So if you're thinking about trying it, I would ask questions. You want to understand the level of credential of the therapist, or the shaman, or whoever is administering this medicine, and understand their history and their training, and make sure that that you feel comfortable there. You want to make sure that you're doing it with the right people in the right location with the right intention. The more preparation you can do and intention setting and getting the central nervous system settled, the better these plants can kind of get in there. And then after these journeys, the integration is important too. And I see it a lot now in Central America and Mexico, where you have people coming down and everybody's talking about DMT and magic mushrooms, and they want to try it. And one night they're at the bars, the next night they're trying DMT, the next night they're back at the bars. This is not a good recipe. This is we can do better, and we need to do better and encourage people to do better.
When you said that earlier, Neil, before we went on live with everyone, bring Neil on too. I'd love to have a spotlight, and Jennifer, and because I won't just be a moment. But when you said that before we went live, and you were talking about that, if we're going to incorporate the inquiry around what's the role of plant medicine in healing trauma or particular ailments or something, that you have to actually be in it from the inside out. You have to be in a meditative practice. You have to be committed to your health and well-being, and you're using it as a vibrational tool, not another crutch, which is a replacement for the distractions that we're doing. All of us, right? We're like so wanting to be committed to our whole system's health, and we have whatever those things are, and we can't replace it with plant medicine, but we can replace it with our commitment to an internal stability that plant medicine can help catalyze, right?
Yes. Yeah. We have to be careful setting the expectation for people that the Western medical system, the part of the problem is that people are just taking pills mindlessly and think it's going to solve that plants these aren't different. Like you need to make change. You need to have discipline. You need to have support. And then, like you said, these can be used as a tool to kind of enhance that in a really powerful way, but the base needs to be built.
Thank you all for being really clear on that, this is not about recreational use. This is about healing from the inside. And as Teresa said, it's about raising our consciousness. So it is, thank you so much for just really emphasizing those points. I want to acknowledge our people watching on Facebook, because a lot of them have offered important questions. So I'm going to actually briefly read about 7 or 8 comments and questions. And then as our presenters speak, you can see which of these you want to address. Linda from Wisconsin wants to know how to lower her blood pressure with plant medicine. Neil wants to repeat, somebody wants Neil to repeat the person's name that you connected with about meditation. Will is just wanting to let you know that he served in the 14th Field Artillery Battalion and the 3rd Corps Artillery Brigade. So you've got a brother in arms there. Claire's asking, I'm having neurological disorders and permanent neck spinal damage with a lot of pain. Medical marijuana has helped immensely. So thank you for that comment, Claire. Christina says, I'm willing to try anything at this point in hopes of healing from CPTSD and physical pain. Any suggestions? And Mimi asks, How can one contact and participate in these programs? I've suffered from stress, anxiety, depression, and addictions my whole life. At 62, as an accomplished college professor, I'm feeling the grief of friends and family stepping out. I need this now and not later. And Mimi, we are going to let you know how to contact everybody. And a reminder for everybody watching on any of the Facebook pages, come on into our Zoom room, because then you can also maybe even have some private dialogue chats with one presenter while another presenter is speaking. And thank you again, presenters, for amazing, amazing feedback. Now I'll turn it back over to Jennifer.
Thank you, Scott. I'm so grateful that you addressed all of those questions. There are so many beautiful questions, and I do want to address one question that has come up multiple times in the chat before we allow you to each share a little bit, and that is the average cost of where people can do some of these treatments. I know Oregon, if I'm not mistaken, psilocybin is legal there. I could be wrong. I went to a plat. Is that correct? Is it legal in Oregon? Does anybody know?
Not yet.
it's
It's
not
coming
yet.
up. It's coming up.
Probably
Sorry.
2023.
Yeah, currently the only legal use or the only legal medicine in the United States is ketamine for depression, unless you're on a clinical trial. And that's why the work that we're going to do at Gateway is so important, because we want to use psilocybin in early stage breast cancer patients. There was a study recently that came out that showed 12 months of the majority of participants in a trial using psilocybin 2 times did not require repeat medications or anything, and still had tremendous relief from their depression at 12 months. MDMA is probably going to be the first psychedelic or entheogen on the market available for utilization in a therapeutic setting. And again, Jen, this is a really important point to make, is that when we talk about these, this is about someone going through the preparatory work that Neil talked about so well. There's preparation, there's the actual session of the medicine, and then really the most important part then is the integration, when you take what you learned on that journey and you bring it back and you put it together in your life. So, if you look, and I'll take the medical aspect of this, psilocybin, very, very good for depression and anxiety. MDMA, really, really good for PTSD. Ibogaine and iboga for significant addiction. Ketamine for refractory depression. And ketamine is what we have right now. And that's why it's so important for us to be able to establish Gateway clinics, so that but we want to have all of those pieces and parts in place. So as our other plant medicines or entheogens come online, we're going to be able to bring them into the forefront. And Clay was absolutely on board with my need to do research, because the only way, and I've looked at the chat, a lot of people are like, pharma's going to take you out. They're not going to let you do this. Well, here's the deal. Once, pharma doesn't like plants because they're not expensive. And I mean, this is not something that someone's going to go develop in a lab and they're going to have a patent on it forever. Psilocybes grow all over the place. You just have to know which ones are which I have a book about that, but I still would never pick one up and even hazard a guess, because I'm not a mycology expert. But, as we look at ayahuasca's use for healing so many traumas, my personal experience with it was not at all what I expected. But had I had Neil giving me my training prior to going to that retreat, I would have been meditating for 2 months beforehand, because you really need to get out of your head. And for me, letting go of 35 years of absolute total control, Mother Ayahuasca did her best, but I still have some issues with that even afterwards. But this isn't about going out and finding some random person who says that they're going to guide you on this journey. I think Neil was really clear about this. There are wonderful places you can go. Many of them are out of the country, because that's where these plant medicines are currently legal. In the United States, ketamine is what is currently legal, but there are many clinical trials ongoing for PTSD, and hopefully we will be doing our trials on pre and post-operative ketamine for breast cancer patients and psilocybin for early stage breast cancer patients as well.
2 quick questions on that, Beth. The cost keeps coming up as a question of the cost of some of these treatments, whether it's ayahuasca in another country or psilocybin somewhere else or a ketamine thing. What is the average cost, and how would people go about? Is it covered by insurance? I know that's been another question.
Insurance still does not cover any of this, and that's truly unfortunate, because the need for particularly our veterans to be able to get back to a place where they can find true peace in their heart requires many of them to take on the expense and travel out of the country. My trip that I went on, and I don't mean trip in that way, the journey that I went on with ayahuasca probably was about $5,000 total, which is an awful lot of money, but it was something that I had to do legally through MAPS to be able to get my certification. I'm going to let Clay speak to the cost of ketamine, because I honestly don't know what the cost of ketamine is. I know it varies depending on clinics and depending upon the number of sessions. And as far as since the other ones aren't legalized, I don't know what a psilocybin journey would be in Amsterdam, but in my next course that I'll be taking starting in April, I'm certainly sure I'll have the answer at that time.
Great.
Beautiful.
So I'm happy to jump in on that, Beth, on some of the cost aspects. I think it's also worth some clarity around Beth's her journey. When she went to Costa Rica to Rhythmia, that roughly 5,000, Beth. That was almost a week.
It was 7 days.
Yeah, so a 7 days accommodations, and again, it's not an inexpensive journey for sure, but just for clarity, it's it's very comprehensive. And there are others. Solterra, another wonderful Costa Rica-based retreat center, and I think as these medicines become legal in the U.S., it's something that we keenly have our eyes on. And Sedona is one of our next places we're opening up with a clinic for ketamine, and we will be doing some of the research that we have teed up with universities and doing those trials out of that Sedona location. But to the point about the ketamine treatments, in our facility, we offer a individual infusions. We offer IV and intramuscular injections as well. The IV, of course, is more labor intensive with the monitoring of the nurses and the aspects. I tend to lean in on that as being more efficacious, and where not as many clinics do offer the IVs. So those treatments on a single one is $550 for a single treatment, which is roughly a 2 hours worth of the treatment itself within the facility. A package of 4, which is recommended, is $2,000. To the question about insurance, there are some breakthroughs, it appears, that are coming with being able to create super bills for patients. And they are submitting these. I hear it not only in our establishment, but in others, where part of the treatment is reimbursable, not the ketamine aspect itself with the medicine, but the nurses and some of the aspects. So, we're gonna break this code. We'll get it to where it will be reimbursable, and with scale, we'll be able to bring it down. I want to say this too, that because I think it's germane. One of the foundations for us, we endeavor to democratize these medicines as much as humanly possible, where it certainly has to be an endeavor that is capitalist in nature. We have to make money to continue to exist, but we have part of our model with a nonprofit element to it that we envision being able to not only bring prices down, but to be able to offer some of these treatments to some of the people that need it most and can't get it. And I'm firmly rooted in that, as is Beth and our entire team, with psychiatrists, but everyone that's involved with us. I think as the legal veil is lifted, I believe that they will become more affordable. and more affordable, back to exactly what Neil said that I agree with completely, and I think everyone on this panel would. I know Beth does. You know, a medical environment set and setting, so your mindset before you ever take this medicine in, that's where meditation and preparation matters, and the setting, actually the physical environment, for those of you that don't know that term, set and setting, the physical environment that you are taking these in matters, which is why a retreat center or a medical office, as opposed to, again, back to my colleagues here, you don't want to be taking these drugs and out in a nightclub and doing it and expecting a medical benefit from it. There's danger with them, like any medicine, misused and abused, it's not a panacea. And, the beauty of what we are able to do now, first with ketamine in the US, is put these standards and practices in place that we will be absolutely prepared for MDMA and psilocybin and ibogaine and potentially DMT. I don't know that we'll ever see ayahuasca come out and in a way that would come from the ceremonial side. Part of me loves it being in the ceremonial side. And maybe we'll get that question and some of that to come back, and Beth can circle back on that. But I hope I answered that question. If not, someone please be more direct with me.
Yes, I think that was very helpful, Clay. And one quick thing that I just wanted to offer to everybody, I know we've all been discussing the benefits of meditation. And as Neil was emphasizing, it's not meant to be a Band-Aid. All of this, that's why this event is called Healing from the Inside Out. It's so important that we do the work every day. Back in March of 2020, I found myself alone and quarantined in London. And I was inspired to write a book called 101 Spiritual Tools for Uncertain Times. What I realized that might be beneficial for everybody is on the book website page is a list of free resources, how to meditate, how to do inner child work, how to connect to gratitude, how to shift your thoughts and your words to be in alignment. All of these things are a holistic approach. So I'll put this in the chat for anybody who's interested in the Zoom room. And again, it's a list of some of my favorite meditations that I do, because I have about 100 tools that I draw from at any given time, depending on what I need in that moment. And I certainly welcome our other guests and panelists today, and any of you out there who are watching us, share your favorite tools in the chat, because you might have a favorite meditation or breathwork technique that might benefit somebody else. So let's make this a contribution to one another. Teresa, I think you had something you wanted to share before we go into some of the promo or answering any other questions.
Yeah, I just want to say that where I feel like we're at, like what I learned about being with these beautiful people that you were felt inspired to bring in, is that the question around the role of plant medicine in our healing from the inside out is emerging in some real powerful and practical ways. Like, Dr. Beth, you said we're bringing this into breast cancer. Like we're gonna try some things, and what you're doing with the clinics, like you're getting it ready so that as it starts to become more available, that we can have that. So I just want to encourage, I think it's great that we're asking around pricings, but I feel like I want us to really drop in to that question of what is the role of plant medicine in my healing from the inside out. And as I ask that question from myself, I'm going to start to really choose the things I need to prepare. I'm going to learn about the options in relationship to my ailment or something. And if we rush out to how much does it cost so I can do it, because I'm trying to heal this thing, we're going to stay in the same pattern. But if we actually know that this is one of the frontiers to help us through healing our traumas and healing our bodies and whole system healing, and we approach it with the kind of relaxation, because we're rushing through, we have so much more we could talk about. right? That we actually take the time now to really ask that question and access people like Clay and Dr. Beth and Neil. Thank you guys so much, and Jennifer, for inspiring them in here so that we could start to ask that question really deeply inside of ourselves and have your guidance on some ways where it's just emerging, right? Like people like Dr. Beth and Clay and them, we can't just rush at them. We actually need to support the conversation around how is this going to help us.
Teresa, I love what you're saying, because that was one of the things that I got out of my breath work in my last evening at Rhythmia. That was so important. That became so clear to me, is that that people are turned away. 25 people are turned away per day from Rhythmia because you can't take ayahuasca when you're on antidepressants and anxiolytics and these other drugs. And so the role that I see all of the rest of this playing is the meditation is such an important practice. So when you can start this process by peeling away the layers of this onion of what Western medicine has done to the treatment of mental illness, we have to peel away those layers with the meditation and with the mindfulness-based stress reduction and many of the modalities, the breath work and the things we're talking about, and potentially the ketamine to get someone off of their drugs, because they can't access the plant medicine healing until they can get their body free of the pharmaceutical, all the medicines that they've been placed on for years, because they don't work together. And so it's really important to be mindful about this. This isn't just like rush out and jump into something. It's about take a deep breath, take a step back, and begin that process of making that safe transition. And this is where this educational process for me to other physicians and, to the population at large is that, you know what, there is a great, there's a wonderful healing to be had when you go deep inside with plant medicine, but you have to go there in a way that is going to not just be safe, but also be effective in the end, because someone put in the chat that they had a horrible ayahuasca experience and that the wrong person was leading them. And that is why this is so important to have these conversations and to be open and honest about it, because this isn't for someone just to go out and do it without understanding what all of the implications are. And that's why we're here. And that's my role. That's my job. That's my calling. I got it. I'm on it.
Well, I would love to throw this out there because I know it is late in many parts of the world where people are. I think Neil is joining us on East Coast time. Perhaps what we could do, Scott and Teresa, if you agree, is to reconvene this group for another discussion in a few more months to give people an opportunity to revisit where we're at with the plant medicine world and perhaps invite another speaker or two. I think it's just such a poignant time to be having this discussion, and there are new advances being made weekly and monthly in this space. So perhaps if everybody is agreeable to that, we could reconvene in a few months to continue this conversation and then talk a little bit about where people can connect with all of our incredible panelists.
Yeah, I agree. I would love for us to talk about creating an all-day event, really, because what we're seeing is there's so much. So let's create like a Saturday or a Sunday where, we really collaborate and people can really, get their questions answered. We'll do a Zoom meeting style so that maybe there could be breakout rooms, so people that have questions about a particular thing can talk to Clay and his expertise or whatever it might be. Because, we've really learned tonight that, this is a very big emerging part of our awakening world. Part of our awakening is how can we raise our consciousness, like Teresa said. So it's definitely been a powerful and gone by too quickly. And thank you again, Jennifer. You've done a great job of pulling together all these people.
It is my pleasure. And so with that, thank you so much for your openness to doing that, Scott. I love that idea of having an all-day plant meditation celebration. I think there was also something beautiful in the chat that somebody posted happening on the 20th for anybody who's interested and wants more immediate information. So Neil, perhaps we could go to you first, and if there's anything that you'd like to share or how people can best connect with you We deeply honor and appreciate the work that you're doing in the plant medicine space, and thank you again for your service as a veteran and your contribution to all of us.
Thank you for saying that. I'm very optimistic about these next 20 to 30 years. I think we're beginning this really beautiful new phase. And I'm really happy to be of service to this effort. And if you're curious about meditation, you can go to the Maryland Mindfulness website, and we will be doing programs in Jamaica. We're doing them now, and we haven't kind of quite officially open to the public, but if you'd like to stay in touch and learn about, we plan to be the standard bearer in terms of psilocybin assisted journeying in Jamaica, where it's legal to grow, gift, use, so you don't have any risks there. And we want to kind of professionalize it a bit and bring it to the masses. So thank you.
And we're on, just so people know, if you're listening, this website to learn more is mdmindfulness.com, mdmindfulness.com. And it's actually a beautiful website with a lot of really wonderful information there. So thank you.
Neil, I really look forward to us having a little bit more time with you, because I think that your own direct experience of riding that current between the mastery and the coherence, and how these practices and the use of plant medicines has really helped you get into a current that's at another octave. And you did it through the mess. And I think that it's really important that we have some examples of somebody that's moved through that, because we resonate with it. We get that we can do it. So I'm looking forward to that. Thank you.
Beautiful, Teresa. And again, just a reminder, Teresa and I are co-facilitating tomorrow the Global Coherence Pulse. So again, do feel free to check out globalcoherencepulse.org, where incredible energy medicine practitioner Shakti Durga and Maitreya will be joining us live tomorrow at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time until 1:30. So if you're interested in learning more about energy medicine as another practice to incorporate, we certainly invite you to join us tomorrow. It's free, and there will be live free complimentary energy healing. I had one person, a veteran, we actually gifted Neil a session. That's how this came to be, this collaboration. And we gifted another veteran a session with one of Shakti Durga's healers. And he said literally he went through 30 years of anger management and anxiety training, and one session with one of Shakti Durga's healers did more for him in 1 hour than 30 years of regular therapy. So there is so much to be said for all of these profound ways to heal. And next, I'd love to go to you, Clay. I know so many people are saying in the chat they'd love to hear more from you, so we'll definitely have to have you back and join us again. If you can share with us, please, the best way to connect with you at Gateway Sciences.
Great. Well, again, it's a pleasure to be here and share this continued knowledge. This is a constant learning experience, and I love to have a platform to share, and most importantly, to learn. I've learned a great deal today listening to Neil, rather, excuse me. Your journey and what you're doing with Maryland meditation, I find it to be very interesting. So all of these things are, we're really at the edge of the edge with this stuff. It's just beginning. And so again, I'm grateful to be here. Finding me is easy, gatewaysciences.com. And if someone needs to reach out to me, it is Clay at Gateway Sciences. So reach out to me with email if you would like. That's my personal email, and I'm happy to engage. If I can be of help, I'm here. And we'll be launching a podcast here very shortly. We have the Gateway Sessions podcast that we've started working on episodes, and we'll be producing some content that I think would be of interest as well. And as was pulled up on that Sciences page, there's an icon to hit for the clinics as well. You can get an idea of what we're doing on the clinical side and the research, which Beth, when it comes back to you and you can speak a little bit about some of that if you want to expound upon it. And yep, so reach out to me. I'm here to help. That's what this is all about.
Beautiful. Thank you, Clay. And we'll turn it over to your esteemed colleague, Dr. Beth, who is just incredible. Thank you for all of your wisdom and sharing. We didn't even get a chance to ask you about soul surgery, which I'm still very keen to learn about. So thank you, Beth, for joining us today. And please share with us how we can best connect with you.
You can get me through Gateway Sciences as well at Dr. DuPree at gatewaysciences.com. And I'm on social media it's just Dr. Beth DuPree on any social media platform. You could DM me or message me through there, email as well. And I didn't complete a 35-year surgical practice. I didn't leave my surgical practice because I wasn't good at it. I was pretty much at the top of my field that I could be as a national breast cancer thought leader. I chose this path right now because this deep soul healing, as I would say, soul surgery, is required, regardless of whether it's cancer or PTSD or childhood, whatever it is. There's a deep level of healing that we have not been paying attention to in our Western medical model. And so my goal is to shine the light on that and to get there through, really through the science, by bringing psilocybin into early stage breast cancer research through Gateway Sciences, by utilizing ketamine. We use it as an anesthetic anyway, but let's use it to facilitate deeper healing in patients pre-surgery and post-surgery. We have the tools there. I just need to connect the dots in the science and in the research, so that is how my colleagues in Western medicine are going to be able to embrace this and say, that's how we do it. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Beth. Thank you for all of your wisdom and your heartfelt, vulnerable sharing with us today. It's just been such a pleasure to be here with each of you. I feel like you all brought a different perspective, and I am intending that maybe each and every one of you, wherever and whenever that you're watching, maybe you gleaned some little piece of value. And I do want to offer this weekend, we are going to be doing a special discount code for anybody who's interested. If you want to try our Om Heals platform, om-heals.com. And the code you can use is AWAKEN, all caps, 10. Again, that's AWAKEN, 10, all in caps. And you can get custom matched with an energy medicine practitioner from around the world. We created an in-house algorithm that allows you to be custom matched with somebody who's going to fit into your vibrational and energetic field. And we're so lucky to have healers from around the world who we're going to be featuring throughout this weekend. So please feel free to go om-heals.com and you answer our custom matching questions, and we'll send you your matches in 24 or 48 hours. So thank you so much to everybody. And I'm going to turn it back now to Khadijih, who is our incredible meditation expert, who's going to be, again, facilitating beautiful meditations throughout the weekend. And we specifically set this up to have her close out this beautiful event that Scott and Teresa provided us the space for, so we can just ease right into our evening and just drop in and ground and go to sleep with ease and grace tonight. So Khadijih, I hand it to you.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. And thank you to everyone who's been here tonight. It's been such an amazing conversation. And I feel like I've learned so much in such a short amount of time. And I'm definitely eager to learn more.
Khadijih, can I say something before you?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I do, Jennifer. I want to appreciate the inspiration to have this group on. And obviously, this is a deeper conversation that we can have. And what a wonderful opportunity for this community to arrive in this conversation when it's actually being championed by leaders right now, so that this conversation can actually live and that we can learn about it and we can begin to apply it. So this is the beginning of our weekend of healing from the inside out. And I imagine, like, for me, what I'm taking away is I'm taking away this question of how can plant medicine support me to to heal from the inside out, and to be in that inquiry in this informed way feels really powerful. And so Jennifer, thank you for bringing this esteemed group on, and I can't wait for us to have time for more. And the addition of Khadijih, she's being with us the whole time. She's one of our cohorts from the Islands of Coherence. And I knew that it was really important that we started and ended these sessions in presence, because we can have these conversations, but if we don't slow down enough and we don't actually choose our healing from the inside out as a real commitment in our lives, then it just becomes like information that runs. And every single person on our panel today is claiming this as their life's journey. And they're like committed on our behalf. So let's be committed on our behalf to heal from the inside out. And let's end with a meditation that actually like keeps us dropping in to a weekend, whether you join us on the Pulse or tomorrow night or Sunday, but that this somehow nourished you healing from the inside out, that we're healing from the inside out. So Khadijih, I'm so grateful that you're gonna keep bringing us into that deeper place. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. And once again, thank you, everyone. So I think it's a wonderful time that we go ahead and drop in together. I'm going to play my music in just a moment. But at this time, I'm going to invite you to just take a moment to find somewhere comfortable to sit down or lay down. Don't worry if you fall asleep during this meditation at all. It'll just soothe you in your dreamland. I'm going to ask that if you are unmuted, just please make sure that you mute yourself. This will help with any background noise during the meditation to ensure that it's as soothing as possible for everyone. Okay, just want to make sure you can hear me because my screen still said that I was muted. You good? Okay, great. All right, let's drop in together. So if you haven't already, now's a wonderful time to gently close your eyes and bring your awareness back inside your body to your inner world. With this awareness within your body, gently begin deepening your breath. Inviting each breath to be just a little longer and deeper than the one before. And possibly even allowing your exhales to be just a little longer than your inhales. Feeling the relaxation take place as you breathe in your body. Feeling the mind slow down and coming into a space of more calm and ease. And gently calling your awareness and your breath back down to your beautiful feet. Once more, feeling your feet on the earth or whatever surface they rest upon. Feeling grounded and rooted and connected with the beautiful earth below. Visualizing the tree roots growing out of your feet and connecting deep down into the earth. Breathing deep and breathing slow and connecting with the sacred ground below you. And as you breathe in this connection from the earth below, we're going to move through a gentle body scan, relaxing all the muscles and tendons, all the spaces in your body. So as you breathe, bring this breath into your feet. Notice and allow your feet to relax. Feeling the soothing sensation of relaxation move into your feet and move up into your ankles, relaxing and releasing any tension or discomfort. Bringing your breath and your awareness into this space in your body. Moving up into your calves, breathing life into your calves. And allowing your calves to relax and release. Feeling more at ease with each breath. Feeling comforted and safe with each breath. Bringing this breath up into your knees and upper thighs, and letting these areas of your body relax and release. Still breathing deep, still breathing slow, and letting this breath relax and release any tension that's there. Continuing up into the pelvis and buttocks, and letting all the muscles and tendons release and relax. Letting go of any tension or resistance, and feeling at ease and finding peace with your breath. moving up even still into the stomach, wrapping around to the lower back, letting your body relax and let go. Breathing deep into your stomach, breathing deep into your lower back, and letting your body naturally relax. Continuing up into your solar plexus, chest, and wrapping around to your mid and upper back. Letting go of any tension or discomfort. Releasing resistance as you breathe deeply into this space. Feeling safe, feeling at ease, feeling comforted in this moment of peace. Moving into the shoulders and arms. Relaxing and releasing your shoulders, letting them melt down your back. Surrendering to the breath and letting go as you breathe. Feeling the relaxation extend down through your arms and into your hands and fingers. Still breathing deep, still breathing slow, and still letting go of any tension in your body. Traveling up into your neck and throat area, relaxing the muscles in your throat as you breathe. Feeling the sense of calm wash over your body, feeling safe, feeling held. Relaxing and letting go. Traveling up into your head and relaxing the jaw and your cheeks. Letting your eyes relax and your whole face just melt into a space of ease and relaxation. Feeling the calmness in your body as your body surrenders to this space of relaxation. Releasing and letting go of any tension in your forehead. Just breathing into this space in your body, feeling at ease, feeling the peace. Still breathing deep, still breathing slow, still letting your breath relax and release any tension, discomfort, or resistance in your mind or head, ears, lips. Feeling held in this moment, cradled by the divine energy of rest and relaxation. Inviting in the natural healing of your body as you relax and let go. And taking a moment to visit any other spaces in your body that may still be holding on or gripping, holding on to that tension. Just bring the breath back into these areas of your body, breathing deep, breathing slow, and letting your body naturally relax and release. Feeling at ease and finding peace in this moment. Now, as you continue to breathe in this way, deeply and softly, still letting go, I invite you to call your attention to your sacred heart, space within the center of your chest, where many ancient mystics and wisdom keepers say the soul or the true self resides. Letting your breath fill up this space in your heart. And with each exhale, feeling the relaxation and the release in your body even deeper than before. Feeling soothed and cared for, feeling safe and held in this moment. With each breath, into your heart, letting your body relax and release just a little more. Surrendering to the divine healing that's available to you as you breathe. Feeling the love of your beautiful heart, feeling the safety of this divine love. And it's in this space of your sacred heart I want to honor your own beautiful path. Honor your own beautiful body and the wondrous being of divine love that you are. Breathing in this feeling of honor for all that you are. Feeling the love that's available to you now as you breathe. Still breathing deep, still breathing slow, still letting your body relax and let go. Taking one more moment to feel this sensation of honor for all that you are, for the divine path that you have walked along, for all the moments in your life that have brought you to this moment right here. Honoring your spirit, honoring your soul, and honoring your beautiful body. Now, while holding this sensation of honor and still allowing your body to relax and release, I invite you to begin bringing your awareness back into the room or physical space in which you're in. Bringing gentle movements to the fingers and toes, Still letting your body be relaxed. Still letting the tension go. And then as you're ready, and as you feel called, I invite you to gently open your eyes and return to the physical space, still feeling safe, still feeling at ease, and still feeling the peace in this moment.
Thank you so much. It's just beautiful. And I do want people to know, a lot of people are saying, oh my gosh, it was so lovely. So you can get more of her beautiful meditations by going to her website, journeyintothesoul.com. And you certainly have done that just now. You've taken us on a lovely journey into our soul. So thank you so much for that.
Hey, Scott, I'll just say that, like you and like Jennifer and myself, that we really showed up during this time of COVID when we were all sheltered in. Khadijih started to offer these meditations into our Islands of Coherence community every week, like consistently. And right now, like the global launch of the Om Heals, Khadijih is actually really launching, her offerings into the world. And that includes a free 7-day challenge for somebody that wants to learn more about meditation or deepen it, and other things. So, we're providing here these opportunities to connect with people who are on the frontier of providing the things that we need in order to heal from the inside out. And that's one thing that Khadijih, you're offering. And everyone, I feel super stirred up and super inspired. And I love that we're starting our weekend of healing from the inside out with the question of what's the role of plant medicine in our healing from the inside out. And that tomorrow, Jennifer, you're gonna, with the, support of Shakti Durga and Maitreya in the morning, how does energy medicine fit in to our healing from the inside out? Into the evening, again with Scott, and expanding on that. And then on Sunday, actually having some experiences of healing together. And so I hope you'll all keep joining us. And I hope that this time tonight has nourished your healing from the inside out in some way. And, Neil and Beth and Clay, I can't wait for more. I can't wait for more. It's really beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Have a
you.
lovely weekend.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
See you
Bye.
tomorrow morning for Global Coherence Pulse. So tomorrow at 12 noon, and then in the evening for our show. Thank you, everybody, and have a lovely, lovely night.
Good night.
Good night.